What's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a while since I've done a sit down. Not a while, like a month. But I just wanted to talk about how God gave me my apartment. It's a beautiful, to me, luxurious. I'm just going to discuss like all the things that I wanted in an apartment and how God like gave me all of that, but not in the way that I wanted it. So stay tuned. Okay, let's get into the meat of the story. So 2020, COVID happened. And at the time I had a 2-bedroom apartment that I was with my mom, but really COVID happened. And so she had to go back to Jamaica. And so I didn't really want this 2-bedroom apartment anymore, not because like I couldn't be there by myself. It was more so because I didn't like the apartment at all. Like there were some discrepancies that I had with the apartment from the moment I moved in there, and the people at the office were so rude. And it was just like, for me, if I'm going to be paying my money to you guys, I need to see that it's worth it. So I was like, okay, I need to find another apartment. I started to get tired of dark wood. Dark wood was like my thing for a while, but I was like, I don't know, I outgrew it. So then I wanted white cabinets in my kitchen. And there was a specific apartment that I was looking at in a different city, like close to me, but not really that close. Now, mind you, at the time, I did not have a car. I was believing God that around the time that I was going to get my new apartment, at the same time I was going to get my car, because I was saving up for both. So like, when you move in, you have your moving, stuff, and then like a down payment for a car or whatever. So I was saving up for both. So I was like, okay, I'm believing that I'm going to have, because I am very picky. So I had a set car that I wanted, and I had a set apartment that I wanted. And so I wasn't going to budge. So the apartment that I wanted had white cabinets. It had a certain type of sink with a faucet that you could, put down. I wanted an apartment with a lake. And I like a certain type of layout. I like where it's large enough where I can like run up and out with my cats or whatever, like they can run and I can dance or whatever, walk up and down. Like it can't be too small. And I also don't like for the dining room area to be like right beside the kitchen. Like that is just generic to me. It just looks, all the regular apartments are the same. Like I want a different layout. I like different. So yeah, I've been looking for this apartment for about 3 months, maybe 3-4 months. Whenever I'm about to make a move, I always look in advance and I keep looking, making sure this is what I want. I don't know, I get obsessed. So I knew from the jump that this was the place that I wanted. I kept looking online for a spot to open, but it had to be the right apartment because they had a smaller one and I wanted the largest one. And during the 3 months that I was looking, like around that 3-2 month mark they had, but then that 1 month mark came and they didn't have any openings anymore for the largest one. And I was like, what's going on? So I'm like, okay, it's okay. I'm going to believe in God. This is the one that I want. I have prayed to God about a lot of things. Like I have a lot of testimonies to put on this channel. This is just one of my recent, but I'm gonna back up with my old testimonies, that fire testimonies, that miraculous. I mean, God always moving miraculous, but like, I've seen God move like mightily for me before. Like if I put my faith in there and like he be moving. So I was like, what's going on? Ain't no spots available. This is the apartment that I want, God. You know this. What's going on, Big G? And as I'm continuing to pray, I'm kind of half stressed, half like, okay, God gonna have to come through because I don't want to stay at this apartment complex. And there was not another apartment complex that I liked. I have a hair salon suite and I needed it to be in the vicinity of it. One, I didn't have a car. So even though I knew I was going to get my car soon, I was like, okay, well, if I have to take Uber for a little bit, it can't be too far. And this place was only like, I think it's 13 minutes away. So it's like, okay, that's not bad. No spots would become available. And I literally up until now, 5 days to move. I'll back up. So around the time that I knew I needed to find an apartment, around the time that I knew, okay, I need to move, I started packing in faith, like a month before I started packing in faith, or maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. So typically, I only pack the night before I move. I know, very bad, very procrastinating. That's very stressful. I don't know why I do that to myself, but every time I move, I pack the night before. And so this time I packed at least 2 or 3 weeks in advance. I got my friend to come help me pack. I packed up. I believed in faith that this apartment was gonna open up for me. And I was like, God, this is the apartment that I want. You've always answered my prayers. You've always gave me exactly what I wanted. He said, if you delight in him, you get the desires of your heart. What you doing, God? So every time I get stressed, I fast, baby. That's so I had to go into fasting. And so I proceeded. I think initially I was gonna do 5 days. 5 days, no food. But then, as I'm on the fifth day, I'm like, God, this apartment's still not coming up, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. At least at this point, I'm like, I'm about homeless, because now I have maybe like a week left. I have this apartment. It's not coming up. I'm believing God with all the faith that I have inside of me, because there's no other apartment that I like. I keep looking for other apartments, and I didn't really like any. Like, it wasn't it. I'm the type of person I'm just really picky. Like, it gotta be exactly what I want it to be. Like I said, it had to have the kitchen gotta be on point, the layout have to be on point, like everything needs to be up to par with my taste. So 5 days fasted, and I was like, you know what? I can't stop, because I need God to come through. So I pushed it to 10. I had never done 10 days no food before. And it wasn't bad, honestly. I think my main thing, because of course, as you're fasting, you're praying, you're seeking God, you're reading your Bible. Like, the longer you get on a fast, the more like you kind of forget about food, and you get to focus on God. Like, it's just like, okay, just like total focus to God. And that's where my heart was, just like surrendered to allow the Lord to be glorified in my life, not me like try to do something on my own accord, but allow the Lord to come through for me in this time of need. So with that being said, I'm pressing into prayer. I'm asking my dad to pray. I'm asking my friends to pray. And another thing is, during this time, my friends knew that I was supposed to leave, and they knew that I needed to move, and they kept hounding me. Like, they didn't know that it was bugging me, but it was bugging me, because they were just like, oh, aren't you supposed to move? Did you get the apartment yet? And I was like, no, but I believe in God and faith. Because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to, like, I was just still waiting on the one that I wanted. But they kept asking me. And I was just like, woosah, I'm not going to let this, deter me. I'm not going to let this make me doubt. I was believing God with the fullness of faith. This is what happens. This is what God does. God comes through for you when you really need him. Like when you're desperate. Like when you're at your wit's end. Like, you're at the edge of the cliff. Like, that's when he gonna pull you back. Like, it's right on time. And sometimes it can kind of be frustrating, but you just gotta roll with it, because when you get there, you're not even gonna remember or care that it was like at that brink when you needed him. But it was just, he always come through at the time when you borderline give up, honestly, but you're just fully surrendered. You're just like, at this point, I don't even know. I was looking online, and I saw there was a couple apartments that I saw that I was like, okay, they're not terrible. And one of them I went to go tour. I have this thing about me where I can walk into a place and just kind of sense if I'm gonna live there or not, or if I'm supposed to be there or not, whether it be a church, whether it be my salon business, whether it be my apartment. Like, I could just sense, like, when I tour it, like, it just feels, it's just a complete peace. I can't really explain it, but it's just something that I've noticed within myself. And that's why I'm just like, okay, once I feel this good feeling, that peaceful feeling, I know, okay, it's good for me. And if I don't feel that, if I just like, something ain't right, I'm not gonna, because I know that I will literally complain. And that happened to me with my high school, my first high school that I went to, I just had this feeling every time that I was there. From the jump, I actually didn't want to go to school from the jump. And my dad was the one who wanted me to go. And I was just like, ugh. And I went to the orientation. I was like, ugh. And just from the jump, like, and people would say, well, it's the way how you went about it, like how you already entered into it negatively, so that's gonna make you feel negative the entire stretch. That I've been to things where I went into it negatively and then it ended up being the best thing that I needed, like exactly what God wanted for me. I just knew that this high school just wasn't for me, and literally that was my freshman year, and I literally felt. I remember like just standing in the compound, like, I'm not gonna graduate from this place, am I? Because I just didn't feel like I was gonna spend the rest of my 4 years there. And turns out I didn't. 2 weeks into my sophomore year, I found another high school, and that ended up being the high school that I graduated from, and I loved it. So there's just something about me that I can just sense the atmosphere of a place. It's not me, it's God. I'm gonna assume that it's the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit gives me something, comforts me, it's home, it's peace, that just makes me know like I'm supposed to be there. So I toured this new apartment. Well, not new, but I knew as in I wasn't looking at this apartment before, but I was seeing these apartments as I was looking before prior, and I was like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted. It did not have a lake. It did not have like the type of kitchen that I wanted. It was okay. Like, it was subpar. It just wasn't luxurious. It was basic. It was nice, but it was basic. I don't want nice and basic. I want luxurious. I want bougie. Anyways. So I go in there, and for off rip, when I literally drove in there, I was like, something ain't right. This ain't it. I was like, okay, it's okay. Just, So she showed me two of the apartments. One of them, I think the differences were one of them had the washer and dryer and the next one didn't. But the one that didn't have the washer and dryer, I believe it wasn't like renovated or something like that. Like it had different, one was renovated and the other one wasn't. But the other renovations wasn't terrible. It's just both of them, like the setup of the apartment felt like at any point in time, if an earthquake happened, that's it. We all did, because the ground just, the atmosphere didn't feel sturdy. It didn't, something about it just felt weird, like very cheaply made. And I was like, okay. And then the second one that was renovated had a very bad smoke smell. And I was just like, I don't want to come in and smell like the smoke smell. Like, I guess whoever was smoking in here, like they couldn't get it out of the carpet and it just seeped into the walls. And so I was like, this isn't it. So I'm outside now of this apartment complex and I'm stressed because at this point I have like 3 days left. I kid you not, I promise you this was the Thursday. I'm supposed to move out by the Saturday. This was the day, this was the defining point in my fast, in my quest for God to answer my prayers for this luxurious apartment. Because this apartment that I'm at just wasn't cutting it. And this was the only other one that was close to my area, financially competent for me. And it just wasn't it. So I stand up in the parking lot. I'm like, God, I'm literally like, what am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm homeless. So I go home. I call my apartment complex and I'm like, if I stay a couple extra days, how much would it be? They tell me $250 and I can only stay 2 more days because they already have people plan to clean and then put them in the next week. $250 for 2 days. No, absolutely not. So I said, okay, well, is there a way that I can transfer apartments? They said, no, we don't do that here. So I knew at this point that guy was blocking it. He was like, you don't want to stay at this apartment and I'm not going to let you stay at this apartment. You going to wait on me. I was just like, okay, but like, I'm stressed. What am I going to do? Like, I don't have an apartment. I'm going to be homeless. And I kid you not, like after I called them, I thought about it for a while. I believe I prayed. And God tends to do that with me. Like right on time. Like when I'm just like, like I pray and then I sit and then he just pops an idea in my head. He just pops an idea. Like he's done this multiple times. And he goes like, call Ashley. Didn't she live in this area and you liked her apartment? I was like, yeah. So I have a friend named Ashley and she used to live like around the area that I live now. And I remember seeing her apartment like through like a side video. I was like, oh, that looked really nice. but I never like inquired like where she was or whatnot, because at that time I was already at another apartment that I liked. That was like literally 2 years prior, I think. So, for this idea to pop in my head, like I knew it was God. And I was like, okay, cool. Let me call her. So I call her and she tells me apartment complex. I'm like, okay. And then I go on there and this was one of them that I did look at. Now, again, here's the thing with me. When I get stuck on something, I'm stuck. I can't really go, even if something looks good, it's like, okay, but it's not the exact thing that I wanted. So this apartment, it did not have white cabinets in the kitchen. It had orangish cabinets, and I liked how they looked, but it wasn't giving me the zhuzh that I wanted. I don't know. I disregarded it, and I shouldn't have. But as I looked more into the complex, I was like, oh, they got a lake here? I didn't know that. And then I was like, oh, the kitchen, the sink has the faucet that I want. The exact like luxurious looking faucet that you can, do all that. It has what I want. It has my granite countertop. It has my, my tile in the backsplash. And I do like the kitchen, the color. It just wasn't what I was used to. And so because it wasn't what I was used to, I was so set on the white. This is the one that I wanted now. That I wasn't really looking at the orangish ones, and it blended really well. Like it made the kitchen look really well. But I was like, the layout that I saw was too small for me. But then, because at the time when I looked at it was only the one I saw, like the small pictures. I didn't really go in detail to go see the entire complex to see, oh, it had a lake and all the rest of stuff, because I disregarded it. So then I see that they have this bigger one. I was like, oh, they do? The tour that they had initially, like it wasn't, enough, because I didn't get to see enough. There was a lot of things that was missing. So I called one of the leasing agents, was able to go in there, give me a full tour of my own on YouTube. And this one had the walk-in laundry. It had the walk-in laundry room that I love. It had the patio, because I specifically wanted second floor, because I was living at a first floor, and I'll never do that again, because when it rains, your patio looks gross because all the stuff and the gunk goes on there. Any second floor to third floor, you're not gonna have that issue. I feel like I also have more light too when I had a second floor or a third floor. The first floor, you barely have any light. So I knew exactly what I wanted. The lady says to me, oh wow, like this apartment just got open today. Just opened today. The people just moved out today, but they needed to, get it clean and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, cool. And literally on time. I mean, he is an on-time God. They were able to get me in, I think by the Monday. I did have to like sleep at my friend's house, but at least I was homeless for that long. And this apartment was exactly what I wanted and more, because the balcony that I have, it is really, like I said, I'm gonna do an apartment tour, but it's long. It's so spacious, and I have so much plans for it. And then I also have a little bit of a lake view. Like, God knows that I love nature. And so the view outside, I mean, I just knew. I was like, I'm going to put a hammock out here. I'm going to have my plants out here. I'm going to be doing it big. This is going to be my peace, like my happy place. And it is. Like, I mean, everything, the bathroom, everything, the living room, like I have two sliding doors. Because the balcony is so long, I can see, the lake. I can see my outside from the two sliding doors, that one is in my room and one is in like here. So it's just amazing. The apartment is just amazing. Like the layout, amazing. Everything that I wanted. It had the outlets, and it has little USB cords, like just little razzle dazzle, is the pool. Oh my gosh. Where the leasing office is, their pool looks out to the lake. Everything. I mean, it just gave luxurious. And they just finished their gym, and it's a state-of-the-art gym. It's great. And God gave me this apartment. Let me tell you too, the other apartment was 13 minutes away. This apartment is 3 minutes away. The one that I was currently staying at was like 2 minutes away. It's literally on the same, like where my salon is, like my salon is here, right? The other apartment was on this street. This apartment is on this street. And then my salon is in the middle right here. So, and I didn't know that this apartment was here. This exact apartment that I wanted, did not know that was here. I mean, God is an on-time God. God knows things you don't know. He's bigger than Google. He's bigger than all of that. Like, I mean, of course it's on Google, but I just didn't know. Like, he was directing me to something that I didn't know. And so I felt like that was him saying, like, sometimes, like, there's things I might disregard, but I don't know. Like, he has a bigger plan for it. And I should just trust him. Like, fully trust him and allow him to just move and show me what I haven't seen, what I don't fully know, you know? And yeah, so that was just my testimony on how God gave me this amazing, luxurious apartment. Bye.